7:41 here on this Friday morning. It's time for some Friday with the Fuzz. I've got Elgin Chief of Police Jeff Swoboda back in the studio. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. How are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you as well. I hear you're going to be principal today somewhere.
Changing jobs for the day. Yeah, going to be a principal today. So
It's in about 20 minutes. It's job change time.
Yes, I'm going to be principal for the day that U46 is putting on, and I'm heading over to Lords Park Elementary School on Elgin's east side. So done this last couple of years. It's a great time just to get out into the schools, and I think it's a nice event. So I'll be spending the morning with the kids at Lords Park.
Awesome. That's a very cool thing to do, and for them to get in front of you and get to know you as well, and vice versa. Speaking of schools, we did have a school shooting scare that turned out to be only a prop gun, but at Elgin High School yesterday there was a gun thought to be seen, but it was actually a prop gun. The high school went into lockdown, I guess, for 10 minutes yesterday.
Yeah. You threw me with the shooting part there. Yeah, the gun. Yeah, there was a prop gun that was being brought to school, and it was a tense time for the people at Elgin High School as they looked outside and saw somebody walking up with what was later determined to be a prop, and a parent just bringing the prop back to the school. So it was a tense time. The positive side of it is it worked as far as the person coming to the front door, the lockdown procedure, having a school resource officer in the building, and Officer Hood being right there, and then being able to confront the parent and determine it was just a toy gun that he was dropping off, bringing back for his child who was at the school, who was involved in a play of some sorts, and I don't know the whole story with that. But so it was more just of a kind of a judgment thing as far as walking up with that openly like that. And so it was a tense time, but the procedures worked as they should, and the lockdown lasted, like you said, about 10 minutes.
Yeah. So is there any kind of procedure that parents should know about before bringing something that even resembles a gun or any sort of weapon into any sort of school area?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, no weapons really should ever be coming to school. Now, this is obviously, like we said, a prop. So, if something, even the prop, there's other discussions we could have about having a prop like that being brought in. But, in a bag, calling the principal or calling the school administration, tell them, hey, I'm coming to see my son, he forgot, or daughter, whatever it may be, and just letting the school know exactly what you're doing. But a lot of times, like anything, it's just communication. But, just walking down the street with it, or like I said, walking up to the front of the school with it was the main concern. So throw it in a duffel bag and walking, call school, let them know what you're doing. But this is such a small percent. I mean, how often are parents can be bringing in a prop type of thing. So generally speaking, any props that resemble real weapons, though, the school needs to be notified, and whether or not that's a decision that should even be on the school grounds will be up to the school.
Yeah, and even though there was no notification, the school did a great job in getting the lockdown done, and it was seen as it was a great judgment call. And so, I mean, you don't take any chances in that type of situation. And 10 minutes with the officer, you said that was on site. The officer, everything was handled properly, and it turned out to be a really good situation as it was only a prop. But either way, is there any sort of situation to where those types of props are just no good in school whatsoever? I mean, is there, I would say, no props that resemble any sort of weapons in any sort of school, because, I mean, even in a play, you shouldn't really have those types of props. Or, I mean, is there a procedure like that, or?
No real procedures. A lot of the things, it's really up to the schools as far as what, if they're going to have a play, and what are, the titles of the plays, and what are the props that are going to be used, for those types of things. So, I know with us, when we do training, and we use, obviously, fake guns for part of our training, and they're generally, bright orange and easily distinguishable that they are a toy. So, again, this was just one of those things. It was, the chances of a repeat are probably very small. But I think your question as far as, what can you bring to the school grounds, what you can't do, I think the school is very clear as far as with weapons and things. And if anybody's ever going to alter off of that, just, contacting the school. And, like anything now, it's, as we talk about, concealed carry, and, we have the same issue with people, bringing in real guns to the police station to turn them in. Somebody has passed away, and they don't want the old weapons anymore, so they bring them to the police station where we can take them in and destroy them. And we don't want them, and we tell them all the time too, we don't want you walking, parking in the parking deck and bringing out the shotgun and putting it over your shoulder and walking through the front of the police department, because that could that's not a good situation at all. So calling us beforehand, saying I'm coming, I have this weapon, and then getting the proper instructions. Okay, break it down, park up front. We'll come out to you and get it. Don't just walk in with it. Just come in by yourself, leave it in the trunk of your car. Come in, tell us what you have, and then we'll walk out with you and retrieve it. So, like anything, to have a set procedure, it's difficult because how often and then how often they occur, which is very infrequently, and then the different parameters that are out there. Somebody's bringing in a prop knife versus a prop gun versus a fake this or a real that. So, generally speaking, just kind of using common sense, letting people notify what you're doing beforehand, I think is probably your best bet.
Yeah, and it comes in the wake of a shooting at Fort Hood once again, which is kind of puts people a little bit in more scary situations. So that judgment would be a little bit more towards that could be anything, and don't take any chances. There was in Kane County in Aurora, one of the biggest heroin busts ever occurred this week. And this comes off the heels of your heroin awareness presentation at South Elgin High School on Wednesday. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, again, another U46 initiative that I thought was very well received. And myself was there, Officer Sosri, the school resource officer at Elgin High, and Sergeant Lulo from our gang unit. We were all there. And they had a gentleman, Nick Gore, who had been battling heroin addiction for a number of years, and kind of just went through the gamut of how he started. And it was a presentation that was, again, well attended. I don't have the numbers, but if I had to guess, somewhere between 75 or so, I would guess. I don't know what the official numbers were, so I don't want to dispute if it was higher or lower. I don't know, but just looking out into the auditorium. And I gave a very quick welcoming. John Heiderscheit was there, Principal Cook, also the coroner was there. So there was very good presentations. Another young lady who was there talking about a foundation that her and her family had set up after one of their cousins had died from a heroin overdose. And so, Nick just walked through how he was, quote unquote, normal kid, involved in sports, a hockey player, and unfortunately got hurt a couple times and started off getting, prescribed medication, kind of opiate-based medication, which got him feeling very, very good, but then was able to get off it once his injuries healed, and then got another hockey injury, and then was put on more medication, and then finally it just became an addiction to him, which then turned into heroin down the road. And one thing we've always talked about here, but it was very good to hear from somebody who's actually been through it, that never even looked at a needle until far later, and I can't even remember at the end if he went down that road. But everything's heroin equals needles, and not the case anymore, especially with prescriptions and, again, opiate-based medication, and the strength of the heroin that's out there now, and how the different ways it can be ingested, and just extremely scary. And a few stories that were there about kids who were, when I say kids, anywhere from, they were talking about a 15-year-old who tried it once in a neighboring town and ended up overdosing the very first time. Again, 15 years old, trying it one time. So it's not something that's just done in dark alleys far, far away from here. It's unfortunately, it's in every community. And it was very nice to see U46 take the lead with this. I know Superintendent Torres, my understanding is, had given the direction that every school needs to have one of these types of presentations for parents and kids to attend. So all in all, it was a very good presentation. It was a nice night to learn more about it. And our Gang and Drug Task Force is something that is a group that they're also going to be taking the initiative on some of these type of community awareness presentations. Because as I said in my opening remarks, information is good, but if you don't act on it, or use that information to kind of develop a plan, force a conversation with your kids or cousins or neighbors if you're close with them, whatever, just making sure that everybody understands that this is a community problem that's going on right now. And even if it's not affecting your son, daughter, husband, wife, whatever, the crimes that are occurring because of people that are addicted to heroin. And Nick hit on that he, after a couple times of using heroin, would have stopped at nothing and was telling some of the absolute crazy stories the things he did that now looking back, he's like, I can't believe I did that to my family's house, and just people when they need that drug are going to do basically anything. So the burglaries that we talk about here, we've had robberies that happen here. People get hurt all the time because of people looking to get money and drugs and prescriptions. We've seen robberies occur where the person's robbing the pharmacy. They're not looking for money; they're just looking for the pills. So there's just so much that families can do just as far as getting the information. Also, another big thing that everyone talked about was just cleaning out your medicine cabinet. If you were on an injury and you needed some medicine for a little while, but that is over now, get rid of it. Get it out of the house. It's not always just your kids, but sleepovers that are occurring, friends that are coming over, kids' friends that come in, and apparently very, very common for people to go through others' medicine cabinets. So we have them here. A lot of the police stations and government buildings are starting to get these medicine drop boxes. So if you don't need the medicine that's in your cabinet, get rid of it. And last quick story on it, Sergeant Lulo was telling a story where he, just in the past couple of weeks, stopped. Actually, I can't remember if it was a male or female, but found prescriptions in the person's in their vehicle. And it might, and I think about it, I think it was a female because I think he said in the purse. So saw that it was somebody else's name. She said, that's my aunt, and she was just with me, so she knows that I have these. And Sergeant Lulo said no. Picked up the phone and started calling the aunt, and then the real story came out that they stole it. And when they got back with the family and the aunt, she's like, that was old medicine from when I went through a surgery. I didn't even realize it was gone because I don't ever look for it. I don't use that medicine. So just again really illustrated the fact that watch your medicine closely, even to the point of depending how big your family is or friends are constantly coming into the house, keeping track of how many pills are in each one of your prescriptions. If you know you got 50 in there, just keeping an eye. Okay, wow, these seem why do I only have 10 left? So it can strike any family, anywhere, any town. Doesn't matter race, doesn't matter sex, doesn't matter age. It's a really devastating drug that's really ripping apart many families and causing many kids to die too early.
And ruining a lot of lives and a lot of collateral damage from a lot of people. So you said, just referring back to information, how information is key, and with the Drug and Gang Task Force, I believe that's one of the opportunities for people in the Citizens Police Academy and the Senior Citizens Police Academy to see what they do and how they run their job.
Yeah, part of the Citizens Police Academy we're going to be, and we just kicked off last weekend. It was a great group of residents who are learning about the police department, and as part of that they get some instruction and some information from the narcotics unit and from our gang unit, and many of those go hand in hand. But one of the things we're really pushing throughout the police department is how it's kind of more than it's just a straight linear chain of command or organization. It's really like a spider web, because every single one of the work units are touching another work unit. So it used to be, gangs and drugs went hand in hand, and they still do. But now so do school resource officers, because there are issues with kids and with schools and like we said, with pills and medication, which then brings in our social services, who also can deal with that, and then our detectives, because they're following up on robbery cases that are occurring because someone's trying to get prescriptions, and then it just goes on and on. And so really there's very few crimes that are very linear, that this is the crime and this is the work unit that's responsible for investigating it, because it's so clear. So what the Citizens Police Academy learns, the people in the academy, all the different ways that the narcotics units are investigating these crimes, and how it's a department-wide approach, because it can involve any one of us. And so they will spend, I think, an entire night, or at least an hour or two, with our narcotics division, and here's how investigations occur. Here are the steps it takes. Here's the information we need on the front end, and this is what I told the group last Monday this past Monday when I gave the instruction. It's that there's 180 police officers and 110,000 residents, and even daytime population of Elgin is probably well over 200,000 people. So the police can't be everywhere, see everything, know what's going on, know there's suspicious activity coming from this house, and we really need the residents to keep an eye on their neighborhoods, and when they see something going on, to let us know. And the residents of Elgin have been great in doing that. We get many, many tips. And so at the Citizens Police Academy, we really spent a lot of time explaining, here's exactly what you would generally see if it was a drug house. If something was going on next to in your neighbor's house, here's some of the things you can look for. So those are the things that they're going to be learning in the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for those citizens, and the Senior Citizens Police Academy is coming up shortly as well.
Yes.
That's a great opportunity for the senior citizens to also see kind of the inner workings, just to kind of observe how all that works and how it kind of blends together. So this month is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and also Distracted Driving Month as well for the month of April. Are you doing any sort of special events, presentations, anything like that?
We are our social service unit talking about Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Really just to highlight it, and so I know we're doing some things on Facebook, recognizing, reminding people that we can get involved. We don't have to wait. People don't have to wait too long. If they just need sometimes some help and information, and maybe helping them through the web if they've know somebody who maybe has been a victim, or they themselves have been a victim. Just ways that they can come out and communicate with us. I know our crisis center is always very active with information and getting out and outreach to people. We had an event at the library a few months ago, which was very well publicized. So this is really just another month just to put it out on the front, kind of in front of everyone's face again, and just remind people that that we're here for them, and if they need help and they need some assistance, that they can call the Elgin Police Department. And many times we're just kind of the place that people think of first. They're going to call us. They're going to call the crisis center. But really, then a lot of our work is just referring them to the proper agencies that spend a lot more time with it and can help them through the court service or through the court case if there is a court case going on. Otherwise, it's maybe just a matter of talking with someone and getting some help to speak about it. So that's on the sexual assault awareness side. And then distracted driving is another one that, again, my understanding is just gave it a month, the month of April, just to remind people, spring fever's coming, the radios are going to start going up, the windows are going to start going down, and people just need to remember that it only takes a second to look down and check that text, that you just swerve off a little bit, and can just change someone's life completely because of that. So it's, and I see Steve Thorin showing his Bluetooth, and something that everyone just needs to be aware of, because, I'm human too, so the temptation is there that, it vibrated, I just want to, I'm not going to text them back, let's just see who's texting me. And so it's just a reminder, and that saying that you keep hearing going through when people are doing, it can wait. It can wait a few minutes, and if I'm expecting that important call, just pull over, and talk then. Because if you haven't seen it yet on our Facebook, I know Christy's put some videos up about just some very sad stories of parents who have lost children because someone else was texting. And the one that I just saw, a little girl ride her bike, just trying to get home, and somebody else just looked down to see who was calling them for a split second, and ended that little girl's life, and the family's now torn apart. And it really can wait. With technology as great as it is, just remember, it only takes a second when you take your eyes off the road that bad things can happen.
Yeah, it takes a second for somebody to stop in front of you, and you won't even see it.
Absolutely.
And you never know. You can even harm yourself, is probably the worst case scenario. But you might be living through harming somebody else, and that's probably actually the worst case scenario. Have you seen, as a police officer, have you seen the new laws taking effect for January 1st, and then we'll wrap it up after this, if you have any other events you want to talk about as well. Have you seen there be a reduction in maybe distracted drivers, pulling over distracted drivers, or people on their phones? Have you seen any sort of result?
I don't think so.
Small sample size.
Exactly. It's one of those things, kind of like loud music. When you see it in front of you, it reminds you that there's a violation, and so sometimes you think you see it maybe even more. I can tell you, we've written a couple hundred tickets already, because we have specifically our traffic unit has done a fantastic job being out there, but also our patrol officers making the stops. And, like anything, if you're in a marked squad car, people know and they see you, so they don't do it. So I know when I'm driving my personal car, or the vehicle I drive isn't a black and white squad car, so it's not uncommon for me to look over and see somebody texting or looking down at their phone. So I don't know that it's necessarily gotten any better. I know that the good news is I think everyone recognizes now it's against the law, and I think most people are at least aware of it, and that's the first step. And then hopefully it'll just be a matter of people realizing that just can't be doing it. And as technology changes, I know there's a lot of new stuff coming out that I see all the time as far as how we'll reduce it so that people, A, can't do it, or B, it'll be easier for us to investigate after a crash occurs, looking at what the person was doing on their phone. So hopefully it'll slow down, but that's kind of the texting story. But we've written a couple hundred tickets.
Yeah. Well, awareness is very key. So people are definitely aware. They're aware of their surroundings. So that is the first step, but still only 4 months in. Jeff, thanks for coming in once again.
Absolutely. And if I could just throw out real quick,
There
we
you
just
go.
finished up our officers of the quarter. Just want to say to Officer Slocum and our Sergeant Chris Triola, our civilian Steve DePaul, and our gang detective Schroeder for officer of the quarter statuses. So very, congratulations to them. And I'm looking forward to seeing the seniors tonight for the senior services. They're having their annual dinner, and so Friday night. Tonight we'll be out at Villa Olivia, so looking forward to it.
Yep. Eleanor let us know about that event.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she did.
I see Eleanor there.
If you're a senior and not there, you're really missing out.
That's right. It's a great time.
Yes, it is. That's what I heard. I heard it's quite the party. Jeff, good luck today in your job.
Thanks.
In your new job
See how we
today.
do.
So I know you do great. You'll be a great principal.
Well, thanks.
Thanks, Jeff.